Hi, I'm Marie and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. And today I've got the lovely Elizabeth with us, and we're going to be talking about past life regression hypnotherapy.
Okay. Oh,
Hello,
hello.
Elizabeth.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hello, everyone. And I'm very pleased to be invited to this interview to talk about the wonderful experience that is hypnosis-induced past life regression. So thank you Marie for inviting me. My name's Elizabeth. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, a sleep consultant, and past life regressionist. I've been practicing for a number of years now under Solar Hypnotherapy, which is my website. I work exclusively online, and experience has shown really that this is preferred by most clients. It saves on time, expense, and possibly anxiety with the traveling to and from appointments. The client's in a safe and familiar setting and is often able to bask in that warm afterglow of hypnosis for some time after the therapy session has ended. But interest in past life regression within the UK is growing. And to be fair, many people that we hypnotherapists meet, and then we tell them what we do, they'll ask us, do you do past life regression?
Elizabeth, can I just cut in there? Just before we go any further,
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it clear that you're actually a solution focused hypnotherapist as well, the same as me, but you've retrained to do past life
Okay.
on this. So I'd like to know for you what do you feel the differences are between the two of them?
Um, well, there are very similarities, and solution focused hypnotherapy is exactly that. We identify an aim, the solution, and we work towards it. It's a fantastic and effective form of hypnotherapy, which works according to a well-defined format and protocol with lots of evidence base to back it up. Past life regression is a little more left field, and it's for individuals who want a more experiential type of hypnotherapy, who want to see what else can come to mind. They want an adventure, maybe, or they're curious about themselves. It's certainly a more spiritual experience.
Yeah.
And there are clients who really like that aspect of the sessions. And there are these similarities when it comes to the preparation for hypnosis. We start with some simple explanation of brain science and what hypnosis and past life regression is. And both past life regression and solution focus methods use relaxation and deepening techniques to prepare the client for hypnosis. And as you all know, each hypnotherapist has individual skills and techniques to apply.
Sure.
And the solution focus process for the client is largely, but not exclusively, passive. With PLR, we take the client a little deeper. We establish a safe place, a safe haven within the session to bring the client back to if there's any distress or abreaction, although most clients don't want to do that, and they don't want to be removed from any situation. The regression is interactive, and the client is invited to describe what is going on, what they can see, any landmarks, numbers, ages, dates, who they can see, and so on and so forth. And the sessions can last quite a long time. So solution focus, usually a session is done and dusted within an hour. But for past life regression, allow 90 to 120 minutes, really, as there are often quite detailed events to explore and experience. And I can offer a choice within my clinic of 3 journeys. You can go back to a single episode of a previous life. You can go back to a series of episodes of a previous life. And you can include interaction or encounters with significant others.
So explain to me when you're, let's say we're going to encounter interactions with significant others, what kind of things would your clients be talking about then, be expressing then?
Well, it's always amazing what people come up with, and I think most people are surprised by the experiences they have. And you don't really have to believe in reincarnation or past lives to benefit from past life regression therapy, but the process can bring healing, transformation, understanding, and may be an explanation to things as phobias, relationships, mental blocks, and so on. So it can help us understand our current realities. So I can explain that by, for example, do you have an unexplained aversion to wearing the color blue?
Do I? Absolutely.
And Marie knows exactly what I'm talking about here, because we've had this in a session with one of the stars of the regression was a blue dress. So why would that be? What reason could you possibly have for avoiding wearing the color blue? So perhaps, just perhaps, Marie, there was this incident in a previous life which is implicating this current life, and you had an unfortunate event whilst wearing blue, and I know we've spoken and you don't mind me sharing this, where you experienced an assault. So, but it could be that the person who was doing the assault was wearing blue, but I think in this case the dress you were wearing was this vivid and very memorable blue, and you
in my case I was wearing the blue.
Yeah. So what does this teach us? You know, you can read quite deeply into it. It could be just a simple explanation. That's why you don't want to wear it. If you apply it to this life, you can say, oh, I'm never going to wear white again. You know, I'm never going to wear black again. We can then, if the client wishes, use standard hypnotherapy techniques to address the issue around the color blue. For example, I could say, Marie, if you want to sort of heal from your aversion to the color blue, we could do a bit of solution focus work. And that's a very, very simplified example, but it gives clients an understanding of the process.
Yeah.
You know, so, but, you know, the fact is that, you know, there is no proof that we have lived past lives. It is a belief. And past life regression does not prove that we have lived. And some people prefer to consider the therapy as an induced dream.
As you know, that's very much my training.
I do, but if you believe it is indeed a dream, I would invite subjects to wonder where that imagery originated from, and why these images and visualizations and interactions have come into their conscious minds under hypnosis. You know, so
I can say from my point of view, from sitting there and obviously having both been hypnotized via the solution focus way and via the past life regression, I can honestly say that I found out the two of them, that the past life regression is much more of an emotional journey, whereas the other is very relaxing, and you know, I feel quite energized after it, whereas the past life is quite emotional. And as you know, I got highly emotional, but then I suppose anyone would, seeing the bottom of a basket and knowing your head's in a guillotine.
Well, you know, there is that fun aspect, you know, which most clients come into past life regression with. They wonder and they fantasize. I wonder if I was a Chinese emperor or a Parisian courtesan or or a Roman general or a druid. And I've had all of those. But if you remember back to the times when you experienced past life regression with me, Marie, at the end of the session, you know, I bring the client back first to the safe space.
Yeah.
And that allows the mind to recalibrate back to present existence, and then bring them round, and then we have a discussion afterwards. But clients often find that they're still remembering details of the regression hours and hours and days afterwards. I mean, I've had emails and texts saying, oh, I remember now that that chair in that corner was actually red, and I think there was a stud missing on the back, and it was leather, and no one was allowed to sit there except this man. And, you know, all these details, they sort of come beyond what you've actually experiencing and telling me in the session. So there is some sort of unraveling going on in the client's mind.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Mm. And with most, as with most hypnotherapy, I mean, the more you're experiencing it, the more you get out of it. You know, regression is the same, and you know, clients find by their third or fourth session, everything is much more vivid and easier to experience than the first. Clients who've never had hypnotherapy before, there's often this resistance to past life regression. So it can take a few goes before we actually get them to fully accept and relax and move into those journeys and open the book, open the doors, go down the path and see where they come out.
But I'd probably say you could have that with any hypnotherapy. The first session can always be that little bit of apprehension because you know, you don't know what to expect and people are nervous about it. You know, after all, we do often see the hypnotherapist portrayed in quite a bad light on TV at times. You know, this person that can make you do absolutely anything, and we know that that's not true.
We know it's not true, and I think, you know, it's even from training, we learn that there are people who have that personality type that will naturally want to show off and be center of attention, and is not afraid to, you know, make a little bit of a fool of themselves. And most people who are in that situation, in an entertainment situation, have volunteered, and they volunteered because they are extroverts. Yeah. But you know,
but also that's a completely different field to where we go as actual hypnotherapists, because that's more down the hypnotist side of the journey, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the stage version.
Version. Whereas as a therapist, it's completely different, and it's always about the client, isn't it, and helping them to achieve what they want really in life. Whereas the past life, I suppose it has got that element to it, as you said, because sometimes you bring in the solution focus if need be, but every therapist is different, aren't they?
Yeah. To be fair, most people that want past life regression do actually want that the fun, first of all, but it's also an incredible adventure. You know, and you know, once you can surrender and let go, you know, you really can find yourself in some amazing places, and it's never where you expect to be. Well, you know, before you come in, you do actually, you know, you do have these little stories and fantasies about, well, you know, I wonder if I was this, I wonder if I was that. And we do have to remember that there have been millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of lives lived on Earth. And if you do buy into the past life experience, most of those lives have been pretty mundane. So don't be disappointed if your experience is not worthy of a novel or a historical documentary. Regardless of that, even unremarkable lives are remarkable, and we learn a lot from them. And I have had people who have been really upset, but they can detach from the person that they experienced in the hypnosis, the person they are now. I had one client who actually had quite a miserable life. Nobody would miss her. I think she was walking along a dirt road as a servant. She was doing some errands. She was very weak. She'd been ill. And she said, I think I'm going to die now. And I asked, who will miss you? And she said, nobody. And that kind of resonates with the client as well. They remember that, but they'll often go on to have another experience. And that particular client in the next session was actually quite a prominent, kind of like a surveyor in Roman Britain, and had a really wonderful wife and family, and life was a blessing. And that was, this is just a complete opposite of the first experience you had.
I know when I've done it with you, because I think we had 4 sessions in total together, and each time I was experienced a different life or a different thing. And one of my favorite ones was when you actually took me back to the womb. That was really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I found that absolutely incredible, in the sense that to go back into your mother's womb, and that might sounds a bit woo-woo and a bit out there, but that feeling was pretty wonderful. It's pure freedom. Yeah. I have to say, I felt purely free in that moment.
Yeah.
But I also could feel my mother's feelings of the time. And to be fair, when I think about my mum now and the feelings of then, they kind of do resonate with me. But is that because I know my mum? I don't know. But yeah, I did. The feeling itself going back into the womb was absolutely amazing.
I have to say, a lot of people find the idea of that challenging. And I mean, just to explain, I'll outline the process that occurs during that particular journey, where we'll perhaps take you back to early teens to start with, and just find an episode of your life and spend some time there, explore how you feel and what you're seeing. And then we'll transgress to an earlier period of your life, maybe a toddler. And we'll do that maybe again, until you're very, very young, your very earliest memories. And those are quite sweet very often. I haven't come across anyone with very early childhood memories that are very unpleasant. Sometimes people feel that they're being neglected or they're left alone. But then once you're back in the womb, and I've not experienced this actually myself. I've only used the technique on clients. So I think the people that have done it, they do find it's much more accessible than they would think, and they experience a lot more. You're invited to tune into your mother's feelings. You can move around, swish around. What can you hear? What can you smell? What can you taste? All of this obviously is linked to your mum. And I think a lot of people find it quite reassuring. It's a very internalized feeling.
Yeah,
it's almost reassuring.
Really lovely. I mean, from experience myself, it was a really lovely feeling, really joyful feeling to have. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I think you remember doing somersaults as well, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
The amniotic fluid.
I can only kind of describe it as I don't know. I should imagine it's pretty much like taking an acid trip, just floating around in there. It's a really fabulous feeling.
Yeah.
Really good.
And as I say, I think that the hypnotherapy itself, or the hypnosis, being under hypnosis in whatever setting a client chooses, and I would always offer all 3 as a little package, as a set. But there is a lovely feeling of relaxation and your mind just feeling a little untangled. And as I say, people do take away really vivid imagery.
The imagery is really, I have to say, is very, very vivid. And And I have had that during solution focused hypnotherapy, where the images are very real, very real. But this is all pretty much imagery when you're doing the past life.
And it is designed really to evoke an emotion or a reaction, just to present the memory in a way that you can see it and experience it. And
on that, I'd like to ask you, Elizabeth, when so you know that when we do take our clients into session, we use a number of techniques. So it might be the idea of visualization, the sense of touch, you know, the way we feel, the way we hear, all those different, we use different elements that we put into when we're talking to a client. Now, because this is very, very visual, what happens when we get a client that's not great visually? How does that work then?
I haven't actually had somebody who was unable to visualize. Usually, I think the only time I've had a little bit of resistance, the deepening, the relaxation method is all very much bread and butter, and most people buy into that quite easily. I've only ever had one client who was resistant, and that client had never experienced hypnotherapy before. And notwithstanding, obviously, you know, we may come across a client with a visual impairment. I haven't myself, but it is possible.
Yeah.
But I think it's just practice, and it's just a little bit of resistance. I think most people can be visual, and I think under the right hypnosis, and I think with PLR we go deeper. We do go a little bit deeper, and my technique is quite slow as well, so I do give them quite a lot of time just to assimilate, and I will repeat and encourage. I can remember one client really that had a problem with visualization, and that came to be apparent at a point in the past life regression when she was being asked to move into the actual regression itself. So we've done a relaxation, we've done quite a long deepener, deeper than solution focus, established the safe room. And then because this person, I suspect it's because she'd never had hypnotherapy or hypnosis before, there was some resistance. So we tried a few times, and I reassured the client they were safe and they're in complete control the whole time, which is the case. And when it was apparent, no, just nothing's coming. That's fine. That's all right. What we're going to do, we will bring you back to the safe room. And we sit there and just think and relax, just breathing. And then I will offer a solution-focused metaphor, which is quite visual, as we've already discussed. So I will offer that and then bring the client back to awareness, full awareness. And we'll talk about it. It's just reassuring. It does happen, you know, it does happen. But most people don't have that problem. But, you know, when I have that first phone call with people, I do say, please just listen to a recording of my voice. Just listen to the standard solution focused, you know, recording that I offer all my clients. We all offer our clients, because that gets you used to my voice, you know, my language patterns, you know, the phrasing I use, you know, the pauses, the breath work, all of that. Because when you've never experienced it before, yeah, I dare say it can be quite daunting. And as I said, people come in with high expectations. And I think there is that resistance that some people experience. They might not admit it to themselves, but deep down they don't want to know. They are too wary. But it's not scary. I've not really known anybody who's done a journey, even one with a miserable ending. And Marie, you've had a miserable ending in one of yours. They've never really had an abreaction to it. Nobody's really become quite inconsolable. It could be a little sad, and it is emotive, but it's not a sad experience per se. You come out feeling better than when you went in. It's quite.
No, I agree with you. I think if I had to describe the aftermath of it, is that, yes, I mean, particularly the one where I ended up having my head chopped off with a guillotine, that one, I did feel quite sort of sad, and as you know, I got quite emotional during the actual trance work itself. But I felt that that's more of a release, probably like a release of tension in my present day life, if you like. It was more of that than anything else, which was quite nice, because we, sometimes it's nice to release a little tension every now and then, isn't it?
And maybe, it signals a new beginning,
Yeah.
The ending of one life and the beginning of a new life.
Yeah, it's, I mean, nothing to be frightened of whatsoever. And so it was, for me, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Absolutely loved it.
Good.
So it's been lovely talking to you, and it's always lovely talking to you. And thank you for coming on.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. And okay, I know everybody wants to try.
And if you want to get hold of Elizabeth, if you would like to try Past Life Regression, you can find Elizabeth on my website, or they can go over to, where is it, Elizabeth?
Hypnotherapy.com.
That's right. And if you can't find her, you can find her by going onto my website, and she's on the directory, on my directory there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put a link down below anyway. All right. Thank you for your time, Elizabeth. And that was the lovely Elizabeth from solarhypnotherapy.com, talking all about past life regression hypnotherapy. Well, if you've enjoyed listening to this, please subscribe. If you want to hear more about hypnotherapy and mental health topics, just subscribe below. And I'll see you in the next video.